Okay guys, quick thing before we go. Um, Down in the description box, I'm going to leave a link to my Nisekoi fanfic on Wattpad. If you haven't watched Nisekoi, if you've watched Nisekoi, then check this out. And if you haven't, watch Nisekoi and check it out, or just check it out anyway, I don't care. But I would much appreciate it if you check out my Nisekoi fanfiction, and let's get into the reviewing. Alright, so today we're going to be reviewing Mirai Nikki. So, this is another little one here. Mirai Nikki is one of my favorite animes. It's based around a boy named Yukiteru Manu, who is given a diary, a diary that can tell the future, and there is 11 other future diary holders, each diary has its own ups and downs, and the goal is, if you kill all the 11 other holders, like they're judging, like the others will kill each other as well, but if you're the last remaining one, you become the god of space and time. So that's basically the premise, and I think it does it really well. Now I'm just going to talk a little things about the story here, but I think this is one of the more original animes. It is one of the more controversial animes of the 2014 season, if I'm correct, especially with, you'll know who I'll get into with the characters. But I believe this is one of the best, well-made, all-round animes I have watched. It's definitely very different to Your Lie in April, where that is mainly based on your concentration and on very field trip. Mirai Nikki, at times, Future Diary can be a field trip. Not as much as Your Lie in April, but it definitely can be a field trip, especially with towards the end of the anime. But it's exciting start to finish. It never lets you down with the excitement category. But let's get into the characters for Mirai Nikki are I can only really talk about two, and those two are Yuno Gasai and Yukiteru Amano. So let's start with Yukiteru. Yukiteru is he's a pretty average guy. He's wears a beanie, wears like this coaty thing with cargo pants and boots. Average guy. He's pretty sad because he's got no friends and nobody really likes him because all he does is write on his diary. But as the show goes on, the character development for Yuki gets better and better. But he's kind of a character that's he's stuck in a world of all these violent people, and he's the only one who doesn't want to be violent, really. Besides one other, but I won't go into that because that's a spoiler. But he's kind of stuck in between whether he should go along with this game or he should just try and figure out a resolution. That moves on to our second character, Yuno Gasai, who is one of the more famous anti-heroes or anti-heroines of anime, as she is praised for being the yandere, one of the many yandere queens. Yandere, if you didn't already know, means sick love or violent lover. So, as it sounds, she is a violent lover. She is all cute and all beautiful on the outside, but when it comes to love, she is deadly and she will kill anyone who gets in the way between her and Yuki, because Yuki is her love interest. As the show goes on, you really see the character development through this. And this is said on many reviews, but I sort of believe it's true. Mirai Nikki is a love story, but Mirai Nikki is a love story, but based around all these amazing events and all these amazing characters, which you never think it would be. Like, if you heard of a show that is about people with diaries that tell the future, and they have to try and kill each other to become the god of space and time. You wouldn't think that there would be a love story elements in it. Like some characters might have romantic interest, but this show builds it around Yuno and Yuki's relationship. Which, as the show goes on, there's bits when you hate Yuno, there's bits when you love Yuno, there's bits when you hate Yuki, there's a bits when you like Yuki, and it throws that way. Which really, I give props to the creators for this, for creating such a chemistry between the two like that. It's really amazing, and how they do it, and why, and like just the way they show it through their characters. Now, next coming up is the theme or music or soundtrack and animation. Soundtrack and animation for Mirai Nikki. Let's start off with the soundtrack. So, the soundtrack is basically like a lot of long anime, since this does go for 26 episodes. First 13 episodes has the first opening, and the next 13 episodes, the last 13 episodes, has that opening. Now, the second opening. Now, first opening is Kuruso Miyaji, I do believe. I'm not sure who it's by, but it is a brilliant theme song. First time I listened to it, excuse me, I loved it. I was in love with it. I got it on my phone after the first episode. It was that good. And for the ending theme of the first season, I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, yes, the ending theme was really good. The thing is, I really like the ending theme. I'm not a big fan of ending themes, like listening to ending themes, but I could get these ending themes on my phone and listen to them. I'm not going to, but I could, and they're pretty good. Next is talking about the second opening theme, is Japanese trying to sing in English. They sing this whole song in English, which they don't do too bad, but it's still not that good. The second theme song, I didn't really like it. It's by Dead End. No, it's called Dead End by, I'm not sure who. But it's iffy. You could have swapped them around, so you would have made the second part of the season good. But what can you do? And the second, as I told you, the second ending theme was quite good as well. Now, moving on to animation. Animation in Mirai Nikki is, I praise it. It's not as pretty as Shigatsu, it's not as pretty as Yasuga, but for an action anime where a lot happens at once, where you've got guns firing, you've got knife stabbing scenes, you've got explosion scenes, it does quite a good job at doing these things. So, props to the studio who made it, which I do believe the studio is called the 12 Diary Holders. So, so they must have been a company that was just founded to make this anime. But yeah, the animation is quite good. The way the character models are good. There's sometimes when they're zoomed out, the characters look a little bit potatoey, which I'll explain more when I talk about High School DxD Born or High School DxD Season 3. But the characters look fine most of the time, and the environment's cool, and the animations that they do for the fight scenes are above average, really good. So now on to pros and cons. So, pros and cons, or do I recommend this anime? So, pros. Well, let's start out with the cons before we go into the pros for once. So, con. There are some plot holes. Not very many, but there's some you can notice. Like, I'm not going to go into anything, but you know when you watch it, I noticed there was a few plot holes. Two, there's not really many other things to talk about. Maybe some characters. Some characters are not involved as much as you'd like them to. Some characters are only in it for 1 or 2 episodes, and then they're gone completely. Sometimes you want to see more. I wouldn't mind having 2 seasons, one season and like I've heard the people bring this up in other reviews, that isn't it a little bit convenient that all the future diary holders are within Japan? Wouldn't have made it more interesting if they were around different parts of the world? Like there was an American future diary holder, maybe there was two in America, then maybe make the majority, like six of them in Japan, but just locate some of them all over the world in really secluded regions, and they have to travel to those areas to kill them, or they travel to Japan and bring over their like customs and shit like that. But I don't. I think that would have made. I think that would have made it a little bit tedious and not boring, but I don't know. But they could have done a 2 season thing where they done the first half more explaining of. There is a slight gap with, especially with Deus Ex Machina, who's the current god of space and time, who's trialing, who's doing this game to find out who's going to be his successor. I think he needs to, if he's going to choose these 12 people as these things, he needs to survey them and see what they're like and see if they're well for the role. Just little things like that. But just more backstory on certain characters, if you know what I mean. So that's all I got for cons. Now on to the pros. It's a 26 episode season, so you're gonna have quite a few episodes. That's like 9 hours worth of anime, so that's good. What else? Characters are all amazing in their own perspective. Like even the characters that are not in it for long, they are pretty cool. Like there's a very minor supporting character that's only in about 3 episodes, and I really liked her. Like it was the girl at the Omakata Kyo cult who ends up going away from the Omakata and ends up working for what is it? Ends up going to the orphanage. That girl, she was only in it for all up 3 episodes, and in those 3 episodes, she's in it for about not even 12 minutes, not even 10 minutes, like an 8 minute. But I really liked her segments in it. And it's a bang bang start to finish. It's amazingly interesting, and it keeps you hooked. Like I said that I was only going to watch 2 episodes a day to make it last when I was up to like the 20th episode, but then I end up just binging it and watching 6 episodes that night and finishing it off, which I'm happy I did, because I don't know, I'm just happy I did, because it was all worth it. Another thing, the ending. It came out of nowhere. It was an amazing ending. I'm not going to spoil it, but the ending came out of nowhere. July and April, you could speculate that ending was going to happen, but Mirai Nikki, that what happened in the last 4 episodes, you could not expect out of anything. That was just, and if anybody who says they suspected it, they're lying, because this just came out of nowhere. They just pulled the rabbit out of the hat and just said, okay, here you go. Here's what could happen. And you're like, oh, shit. But other than, with that, it's just an all-round great anime. And I'm not going to go too much more into the ending, but I really liked the last couple of episodes. But another one for con. Episode 13, if you guys have watched this anime, which is the episode in the hotel. I really did not like that episode. I said to myself, if the rest of the episodes for the rest of the series are going to be like this, I am not going to like this series. And then thank God they fixed it the very next episode. Because if they would have kept on going like they were in episode 13, which I really hated that episode. I found it boring. Like, it was the only episode in the show where I found boring and just, I didn't like it at all. But, yeah, another pro is there's a yandere in it for the people who like those tropes. You got your girl. And, yeah. That's it. And I'm glad that I kept this under 15 minutes. So please comment, like, and subscribe. But before I go, rating. If I'm going off my anime list rating, I would have given this a 10. But if I'm going off my rating, I'm giving it a 9.5. And a solid 9.5 or a solid 9.6. Because Shigatsu got a 9.8, which is another 10. But I wouldn't go any further. Like, Shigatsu is a solid 9.9 or a 9.8. This is a solid 9.5 or 9.6. I really liked it. Hope you guys like it, and hope you like this video, and I will see you in the next video. See you guys.